Hello, this is Jason Akers from the Self-Sufficient Gardener podcast, and today I'm out here in my soon-to-be new garden, and I'm reviewing a product from one of my sponsors. The sponsor is Orcon, also known as Organic Control. You can find them at www.organiccontrol.com, and the product is called Plan B. It's a pretty apt name for the product. It's a mason bee nesting box. It's got removable cardboard tubes with paper lining in them that can be remove the lining from the paper. You can reuse the tubes probably over and over again until they degrade and you want to replace them, obviously. But it's a neat little nest. It's actually looks like wood, but it's made of plastic, hard plastic, so we know it's going to be durable. And I'm going to show you my old mason bee nesting box here in a minute. And you'll see just how inefficient and undurable it is, although it's very cheap. It probably makes a lot of sense to invest in something like this. That way you get the full effect, and you get mason bees coming back year after year. And you can actually control parasites and things like that by removing these tubes and having them come back year after year after year. So I did a show on native pollinators, but what is a mason bee? Mason bees are, they're in the I believe it's the genus Osmia. So they're related. They're in the same order as the honeybee, but they're not as Hymenoptera, but they're not actually that close of a relationship to the honeybee. Mason bees are solitary bees, so they actually build their nests in the ground or in hollow tubes, hollow logs, hollow pithy vining stems. Anywhere they can find a hollow spot, they will actually put eggs in, and they'll cover it up with mud. And what makes them so efficient, actually more efficient than honeybees, is they don't have a nest full of honey they have to protect and worry about storing over winter. They essentially die. They lay their eggs and they die. The bees hatch the next year, and they come out and do their thing all over again. But they're more efficient than honeybees. They emerge earlier than honeybees, and they're not subject to things like colony collapse disorder, because they actually don't have colonies, first of all, and second of all, they're native to the U.S. So they actually have a lot of benefits going for them. Again, I mentioned they emerge earlier than honeybees. I shouldn't say emerge. They start doing their work earlier than honeybees. So they get things like strawberries and things like that flower earlier than honeybees would really go after. Honeybees are kind of more of they like a little bit warmer weather. They'll actually eat off their honey until it gets warm enough where they can actually go and collect a bunch more. But they're more efficient than honeybees. They're less aggressive than honeybees. They're not trying to defend a hive full of honey. And they don't have a whole bunch of drones and a whole bunch of workers that they're actually trying to feed. They do all the work themselves. And by them, I mean the female. The male basically emerges, sits next to the nest, and mates, and then he dies. And then the females have to do all the dirty work, like building the nest, laying the eggs, getting it covered up. Why they pollinate is they actually provision the nest with pollen. So back here in these tubes, they're going to lay eggs. They're going to put pollen, and kind of like a ball of pollen, sometimes called bee bread. And then they're going to fill it up with mud, and basically leave the egg to hatch. The egg will hatch, go into larval form. Larval form will eat the pollen and pupate. After they're done with pupation, they will come out as a fully adult mason bee. So let's break open the package and see what's actually in here. Got some mounting hardware and the tube itself. So I'm going to put this in my pocket so I don't drop it and lose it. So obviously you got these little connectors back here that the tube's going to connect to the mounting hardware. Oops, dropped the lid off right there already. So they come with these little tubes, these little cardboard tubes. Inside each tube, if I can get one out here, is a paper liner. It's plugged at one end, and it's got a paper liner at the other end. And that paper liner is what you can actually remove and take the eggs out. Now, I don't know I actually will remove the paper liner and take the eggs out. I kind of like the ability of them to hatch over and over again. Although they don't really rely on just on the nest to get more bees. They're laying eggs all over the place. But people like to take them out, and put them in the refrigerator over winter and things like that, and then put them back out in the springtime so they can actually hatch out. But I probably won't mess with them. I'll probably try to make it as sustaining as possible where I don't have to do as much work. So I'm actually standing next to this pole because that's where I'm going to mount it at. I'm going to mount it probably like this, just give it a little bit of a kind of a up. It needs to be about 3 feet off the ground to avoid predators and things like that. My only worry is this pole's probably going to get some kind of bird nesting box on it, so I'm a little bit worried about the ability of the bees to withstand predation from birds, but I don't think probably the birds I'm going to try to attract are going to be that into eating mason bees. Mason bees can sting, but they usually don't because they're very docile type of bees. So I'm going to use the mounting hardware, mount it right about here, put it up, and wait for spring and see what happens. So I got the mounting block, 2 screws and a screwdriver. So I'm trying to find an angle where the camera can actually see what I'm doing. A slight bit of a tilt on it so the tubes don't fall out. Not that they necessarily would, but I just want to be a little bit OCD about it and make sure they don't fall out. Of course, this doesn't destroy it. You can remove this probably and put it anywhere you wanted to year after year, although it probably makes a lot of good sense to put it where they're going to find it. So pop it in there, pop it back, done. That's it. I'll probably keep the lid on until winter's over, but that's essentially what it looks like. I'm back here and looking like that. So not a bad looking little nest at all. Mounts very easily, very durable. You can remove those tubes and replace them as they get worn out. You can actually take the paper liners out and put the eggs over in the refrigerator or freezer over winter. Make sure you don't get any parasites. But that's basically it. It's a fairly easy to install little device. Looks pretty nice sitting out here on my trellis post. So that's it. Thanks for watching.